Story 1. Yes, because I like to observe firsthand the physical oddity of a 9-pound dog occupying 90% of a king-size bed. Story 2. Yes, of course. I'd let him borrow my car if he wanted to. We both sleep better when we are next to each other. Story 3. Dogs are pack animals and want to be with their pack. I live alone and I am my dog's pack. Her life is short, so she can relax in my bedroom with no worries. Story 4. I would let my turtle sleep in my bed if it did not make her feel scared or want to bite me. Story 5. She sleeps beside me in her own big, fluffy bed. I hang my arm over the side and pet her to sleep. She snores just a little. Story 6. No. He's a 130-pound Great Dane that thinks he's a Chihuahua. Story 7. One of my pet rabbits sleeps in my bed. He is not supposed to, but he invites himself all the time. Story 8. No. She is too big and she smells. It does not matter how much I bathe her. She still carries grime I do not want in my bed. Laughing out loud. Story 9. Sometimes I sleep curled up in the corner of the bed with just a scrap of blanket if he is snoozing happily in the dead center, because I would be a monster for waking him. Story 10. When I had a dog, I loved her more than anything else in my life. Having her cuddled up to me made me slightly less miserable. Story 11. Sure, he is part of the family. As a dachshund, he chooses a spot and you do not notice he is there. Story 12. No. It is mainly because he is 80 pounds and we sleep upstairs. We never let him upstairs when he was a puppy because the old cat did not get along with him and she owned the top floor. After the cat died, he still stayed downstairs. My previous dogs all had trouble going downstairs and getting into bed as they aged and had several falls. If he does not go upstairs or sleep with us, he will not have that problem. He has a few beds downstairs. One out in the open where people are and another in a quiet corner where he can nap. An 8-inch memory foam bed wrapped in fleece was better than my bed for years. Story 13. Absolutely not. I let him once and could not get any sleep because he plopped his 70-pound rear end smack in the middle of the bed. Story 14. My current cats are not good company in bed. Marcy bites my elbows, and Maddie pulls my hair. They sleep in the living room in a big banana with the Muppets on. Story 15. No, because my dog is a 110-pound German Shepherd and takes up half the bed, which does not work for me and my boyfriend. He sleeps on the floor next to me every night and still gets lots of cuddles, which I find funny. Story 16. My Velcro dog sleeps under the covers with me. It's one of my favorite things in life. Story 17. My rescue pups have anxiety and abandonment issues and prefer to sleep with me. Story 18. Because she loves us so much and it comforts her. And we will never have enough time with her. Small price to pay, in my opinion. Story 19. I used to let my rat sleep in bed with me when I would take short naps. I would always wake up to him grabbing my nose with his little rat hands when he was ready to get down. I missed that guy. Story 20. No, because a stinky dog and dog hair on my naked body make me anxious. He gets his own comfy pillows, blankets, and bed. Story 21. Imagine being covered in fur, rolling in the grass, lying on the floor all day, then just jumping into bed at night. I find it disturbing as someone who showers daily. Story 22. No, absolutely not. I do not want whatever filth he brings into my bed. He has his own bed next to ours, but he does sleep in our bedroom. Story 23. Absolutely not. I have grass and pollen allergies. She rolls around in the grass and plants, and that should not be transferred to my bed along with her explosion of hair. She is 70 pounds. She can hang out on her cushy bed on the floor near her pack in the den. Story 24. No, our dog is not allowed on the bed or furniture. She has about 5 dog beds around the house. She sheds a lot. Our belongings would be covered in dog hair. It does not seem to bother her. She is not a cuddler. Story 25. No, because they often roll on dead animals outside without your knowledge, slobber, shed, rub their rear end on the bedding, and do not stay still or quiet. I am all for providing your pets luxury items to sleep on, but in my opinion your bed should be a clean sanctuary for you to enjoy. I have encountered beds of people who let their dogs sleep with them. They smelled bad and were completely covered in hair. My allergies and sinuses are ill-equipped to handle that. Story 26. Yes, I do. They sleep with their heads on our pillows and their bodies under the blankets because they bring me comfort, keep me warm, and enjoy it too. My big one climbs into bed and lets out the most contented sigh. Story 27. When we first go to bed and are reading, she is on the bed chewing a toy. When the lights go out, she goes to the floor or her own bed because she likes the space, but she often comes back onto the bed during the night. I love her. She is cute, and I enjoy snuggling with her. It is nice that she wants to snuggle me too. Story 28. She loves me and at night jumps up to curl up beside me. She sees me as the leader. 2 summers ago, she was willing to take on a large brown bear to protect me. I, of course, knew she would not have made it, so I put her on a leash and we left. Without a leash, she would have fought the bear to the death. So does my little, sweet, fierce warrior sleep in the bed? Yes, she does. Story 29. Haha. My dogs sleep wherever they want, and most of them sleep in bed with me at night. Why would they not sleep with me? I am their person. Story 30. My dog is a border collie and I call her my queen, because she is primarily an outdoor dog. She has her own bed. Story 31. Yes, dogs ask so little for complete loyalty. It's the least I can do. Story 32. Yes, I have a large bed and they enjoy lying on it with me. Story 33. If you could ask my dogs, they would tell you they let me sleep in their bed. Story 34. No, he has never even been allowed upstairs, where our bedrooms are. Story 35. Oh God. No, she is a border collie who loves to run, dig, and get dirty whenever she can. She is very energetic. I did get her a nice dog bed. Story 36. We used to, but we realized we were waking up with allergies and now sleep much better without them. Story 37. No, a human bed is for humans to sleep on. Pets sleep in kennels or on their own beds on the floor. Story 38. I was a professional dog trainer for over a decade, and my answer is no. Simply put, I do not want dog hair in my bed. I love dogs and sometimes let them in when I am about to change the sheets, but they do not stay long because they are not used to it. They have their own cozy spots. My bed is my sanctuary and my one space without dog hair in it. Story 39. Yes, because my dog is my brother. Why should I have something better than him? Story 40. Yes, because it brings me comfort. I wash my bedding 1 to 2 times a week to keep it clean. Story 41. I bought a California King specifically for it. I find it comforting in my loneliness. I have also trained my service dog to sleep pressed against me to support my back. Story 42. I love her, but she is a dog who lives in the countryside and is not clean. She does have her own couch, though. Story 43. You might as well grab handfuls of dirt and shit and sprinkle them in your bed. We love our dogs, but for fuck's sake, they walk on the ground, nose around in the dirt, and lick their own assholes. Story 44. I have always let my dog and my cat sleep in the bed if they want. I cannot deny them the emotional warmth it gives them. As the saying goes, they are a part of our lives, but we are their entire life. Story 45. In bed, my husband is next to me, snoring. A schnauzer lies on top of the blankets, also snoring. A dachshund is under the blankets, pressed against the back of my legs, and a cat is on the other side of my legs on top of the blanket. I love it. It makes my heart sing. Feels so complete. Story 46. I live in a tropical climate. Ticks are not uncommon. The dog is always allowed in the living area of the house, but he is not permitted in the bedroom. He is fine with his own sofa outside. Story 47. Hell no. I don't like bits of feces falling from his paws onto the bedsheets. I will, however, get down on the floor and wrestle with him before bed. Story 48. Sure, that's where he's always slept. He turns 20 next month and has slept next to me since he was a tiny puppy. I've had a dog in bed with me for the vast majority of my life. Poodles make it easy too. They don't shed and are fuzzy like a teddy bear. My bed has actually gotten smaller as the dogs got older. First, I removed the frame and put the box spring on the floor. Then I removed the box spring and used just the mattress. Later, I slept on a thick carpet with a sort of Japanese futon-style setup. Now I have a giant, half-filled beanbag that I made wedge-shaped. One dog can walk up the gentle incline to lie beside me. Story 49. I used to, before I moved in with my husband. My dogs are my babies. I love them to death. I want them close, to feel their fur and hear their heartbeats. Wrapping my arms around them gives me immense joy. My husband, however, does not like dogs in the bedroom, so it was a huge adjustment when we first moved in together. Story 50. No, I don't let them on the furniture either. I'm sick of them vomiting, urinating, bleeding, drooling, and defecating on my stuff, so they get a comfy dog bed and don't miss what they never had. Story 51. No. He sleeps outside the room in his crate. We close all doors. I do not want any dogs between my wife and me. Laughing out loud. Story 52. I want him to, but he rarely does. He will hang out on the bed until my wife and I turn out the lights. Then he heads off to his crate. Story 53. Definitely not. Dogs eat feces and lick their anal area. Contrary to popular belief, their mouths are filthy. Downvote away, but you asked. Story 54. Dogs have short lives and you are everything they have. If you do not give everything to them, then fuck you. They just want to be with you and nothing more. It cannot be simpler or purer than that. Story 55. Yes. I have a 100-pound German Shepherd who sleeps in my queen-size bed. It feels like we're a married couple because she takes up the whole side of the bed. Story 56. I wanted to, but decided instead to put a dog bed next to the human bed. The puppy and I were happy. It worked out well. I did not want to start a habit of sleeping in the human bed that would be impossible to change later. Story 57. Our dog is crate trained, so she often prefers her crate. I am a very light sleeper, so I cannot sleep well with a dog in the bed. Fortunately, my husband sleeps like a log. Story 58. I grew up with a dog and, as a child, had an overactive imagination. Having a dog sleep in my bed gives me a greater sense of security. Story 59. I love my dogs. They are allowed on any other furniture except my bed. I have large dogs and they are not considered bedmates. They elbow me, breathe in my face, drool on me, and bring dirt into my bed. It is just not tenable. I will cuddle with them on the couch, though. Story 60. No. We have 2 dachshunds and our bed is high, so we do not want them to fall off while we are sleeping. They do spend time with us during non-bedtime hours. Story 61. No, because if I did, he would poop everywhere. He has to stay in his kennel at night and when we are not at home. Story 62. He's my dog. He would die for me. Of course he gets to sleep in the bed. Story 63. No, but my dog is very generous and lets me sleep in his king-sized bed. Story 64. No, our bedrooms are on the 2nd floor, and our dog is afraid of stairs. Story 65, of course. We share the bed with 2 dogs and at least 1 cat every night. Why would we not? Story 66. Yes. She relieves my anxiety from post-traumatic stress disorder. She is a 40-pound, 101-degree hot water bottle that spoons. Story 67. We always sleep together. First, I am a girl who lives alone. Second, everyone around me knows my dog will protect me if someone hurts me. Third, I love his cuddles and morning kisses. Story 68. Yes, because we are their pack and it is what a pack does. Story 69. I'm out running errands, and reading all these heartwarming replies makes me miss my dog. I can't wait to get back home and snuggle. Story 70. No, she sleeps in the crate. The cats are allowed on the bed. I love her to death, but when I sleep with her while camping she is a bed hog, and the cats need love too. She likes her crate. It is very comfortable and much bigger than she is. Story 71. Yes, their comfort is a top priority. Plus they are just so cute. This does require changing the sheets at least once a week because, let's face it, they are dogs. They shed and track in dirt, and I have standards. But it is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Story 72. Do I let him? No. He does anyway. Red healers weigh 40 times their normal weight when they are asleep. I found that using 2 twin comforters versus 1 king on the bed allows me to still move the covers around a bit after the dog claims the bed. This is common in Europe but not in the United States, and it works wonders with a 10,000-pound dog. Story 73. The dog and the cat are there. If she could lift the fish tank, they would be there too. She would do anything not to give up that ass. Story 74. He is a huge German shepherd with a strange obsession with pillows and lying on top of me. He cannot resist chewing a pillow. He does not touch anything else in the house, not even the children's toys, but he bites pillows all the time. He usually sleeps in his own bedroom, which has no pillows, or on one side of the sectional in the living room. Story 75. Absolutely not. They have their own bedroom with custom furniture and direct access to their fenced-in dog run. Story 76. Yes, absolutely. We already restrict their lives so much. We choose when they go outside, when they eat, what they eat, and how far they walk. If they want to sleep next to me and get a cuddle, I am not going to stop them. Story 77. Yes. I sleep better next to him, and it makes me feel safe. Plus, he is a rescue who was abused before he came to me and deserves to sleep wherever he wants. He is a big, scary pit bull. I have dated people who did not like him sleeping with us and taking up the bed, but I would kick out a partner before I would kick out my dog. Story 78. He is a service dog and wakes me from nightmares. During the day, he alerts me to impending panic attacks. Story 79. My little one-eyed corgi, Palm, sleeps on my pillow, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I rescued her at 10 years old. She was in rough condition and had never been walked. She deserves all the comfort and love in the world. Story 80. She sleeps in her kennel, which she loves. We all get good rest and don't get any rashes or cooties from the outside world, which makes me laugh out loud. She gets a bit crabby when the sun goes down, so that is her time. We appreciate the restful sleep. Story 81. No. My dogs are serial feces magnets. They roll in it, eat it, and even use it as a face mask. They have a whole queen-sized mattress on the floor. Story 82. On the bed but not under the covers. They must stay on top of the covers. I'm particular about keeping my sheets clean, but I still like the cuddling. Story 83. When he was still alive and healthy enough, my dog Duke and I snuggled in bed all the time. He was a Great Dane and acted as my personal heating blanket when I was cold. I was really sad when he became too old to climb into bed with me, but I understood and bought him his own comfortable bed. Story 84. My parents' entire bed became infested with fleas because of this. Story 85. I used to, until a spider in her fur bit me. It was a recluse spider and I became very sick. Story 86. Yes, both of them, because they're family and I love them as they love me unconditionally. Story 87. My dog died in August. You are gosh darn right, he slept in bed with me and was allowed on the couches. I have an allergy to dandruff and foreign fur and will break out in hives anytime I pet a new dog. Frankie was my ride or die. I could not sleep without his 45 pounds of sass next to me. He had the incredible ability to take up the majority of my queen-size bed when he slept. I would give anything to fight for bed space with him again. Story 88. Yes, she does. She is my baby and she is old, so I let her sleep wherever she wants. Story 89. No. Dogs are dirty animals and, in general, pets should not be around food. Story 90. Yes. The cuddles are out of this world, and I want my pup to feel as happy and content as I do when she is with me. Story 91. He's an extremely good boy. Was that not obvious? Story 92. If he wants to, yes. He has a dog bed on the floor, but he can stay in our bed if he prefers. He is a rescue who was abandoned. My goal is to make the rest of his life the best possible. Story 93. Oh, hell no. To me, the bed is sacred from an emotional point of view. It's the only place in the world where I need the rest of the world to leave me alone. It's about absolute freedom, movement when you wake up, how you wake up, and everything in between. A good night's sleep is the foundation of physical and mental energy for the coming day. I can communicate my bed-related preferences to my partner and have them respected. I cannot do that with our dog. She has her own bed next to ours. Story 94. Yes, I do. She's snoring beside me right now. Why would she not sleep on the bed? She's 95 pounds, but she's pretty good about not hogging the covers. Story 95. I don't let my dog sleep in my bed. She is kind enough to let me sleep in hers. Story 96. I don't have a dog now. I really wish I did. I loved snuggling in bed with my ex-wife and our dog. I miss the dog so much it makes me sad. My ex can sleep in a crate, but I miss the dog. Story 97. When she hops up in bed and rolls around to find a snuggly spot, it is a highlight of both of our nights. I have to pet that dog. Story 98. Dog fur all over. I have not dated women who let their dogs sleep in their beds. But that's just my personal pet peeve. Story 99. No. I do not want the dog's smell or hair on my pillow and sheets, flatulence, or a dog's rear end in my face. Story 100. It is not really an option. When mosquitoes or ants bite me, in the worst-case scenario I get a small raised bump for a minute or two. If a flea bites me, I lose skin unless I apply a large amount of moisturizer and calamine. I treat my dog for fleas, but it is easy to pick one up on a walk, so no animals in bed. Story 101. I do not have one, and I never would. I see it as the equivalent of jumping into bed with your shoes on. It is just not hygienic. Story 102. My dogs are actually cats, and that is where they want to be for some inexplicable reason. Story 103. My 4-pound teacup chihuahua, who is 13 years old, is my spoiled little baby. I cannot imagine how lonely he would feel if he were not allowed to sleep in bed with me. Although most nights he pushes me off the bed or makes it uncomfortable because he likes to cuddle up against me, I have never considered kicking him out just to get some sleep. You make sacrifices for the ones you love. And this dog has my whole heart. Story 104. No. If I get too close to my dog, I start getting hungry. I am Haitian. Story 105. I have had 3 dogs sleep in my bed. The only reason it was not 4 is that the 4th was an older dog when I adopted her and could not get into the bed. Story 106. Because his natural desire was to sleep between my legs, he has done so for 6 years. As has been said, they are pack animals. We have domesticated them and they live with us, so we take on those responsibilities. Story 107. No. The smell of a dog in the bedroom is unappealing to visitors. Story 108. In my opinion, people who allow this are sick in the head. Story 109. Their lives are too short to deserve anything less than comfort and a close bond with us. I also like cuddling and the warmth. Story 110. No. My bed is for me, and the dog has its own bed downstairs. I don't judge someone for sleeping with their dog, but I would not date a person who feels they have to. I personally find that disgusting and am worried about an accident. Story 111. If she wanted to, she could, but she is 135 pounds of fur and enjoys the cold tile floor in Newfoundland. Story 112. My old dog used to curl around my head every night like a little halo. My current dog, however, is too wild to stay with me at night. My cat sleeps balanced against my side most nights. Story 113. Our dog sleeps in her crate right next to the bed. This keeps the pack together and gives her space. We also have cats, which prevents her from chasing or trying to play with them all night as they move around. When we travel to the in-laws, the dog sometimes sleeps in the bed because they have no crate and no cats. Story 114. If I had one, it would be my family. They are great cuddle buddies. Story 115. Yes, it was my partner's choice, but the alternative would be trying to keep her off the bed, which would be difficult. The bed is futons, thick duvets on the floor in our main room. It is easy for a dog to sleep on and hard to prevent her from using it. She adds warmth on cold nights. In the end, why not? She likes it, and there is little downside. Story 116. He is adorable, cuddly, and sweet. He weighs 7 pounds, hogs the whole bed, and it makes me smile that he is living his best life. Story 117. Yes, she makes me feel safe. If I hear a noise and she does not react, I know it is nothing. She is like a weighted blanket. Story 118. I share my bed with 3 Pomeranians. Before them, I shared it with my Schnauzer. Sleeping and waking with them makes my life happy. Each has claimed a spot forever. Story 119. Absolutely. He won't start near the top by the pillows. He'll sleep near the foot of the bed, wake up once or twice, and move up next to me by morning. Story 120. Yes, I keep him clean, and they are pack animals by nature. Story 121. Yes. It is hard to be a good boy all the time, and sometimes he needs a nap. Story 122. He nearly died. I prayed to God that if he saved him, I would let him sleep in my bed every night for the rest of his life and give him the happiest life, with the most love a dog could have. A miracle happened beyond rational belief and to the shock of all the emergency veterinarians, and he was saved by what could only be described as divine intervention. Now he sleeps in my bed, under the blankets, as my little spoon for as long as he lives. Story 123. My pets sleep wherever they damn well please. Is their home. Story 124. No. He is a large dog and sheds a lot. I am allergic to him. He sleeps in my room, but any time I pet him I cannot touch my face. I can only imagine how it would feel if his hair were all over my bed. I do not believe animals should sleep in the same bed as people. It is disgusting. Story 125. No, he is trained not to come into my room at all. He sheds a lot, so it was a fur nightmare when he was freely going in and out of my room. His crate has a small mattress and a blanket. It is funny watching him get cuddled up in there at night. He makes it perfectly comfortable. Story 126. All these yes answers just show how white this subreddit is. Laughing out loud. Story 127. Studies have shown that people who allow their dogs to sleep on the bed are happier. Story 128. Yes. I have 2 Chihuahuas. I live with my parents currently. One dog gets passed around based on who he prefers, while the other consistently stays with me. They can stay in a crate when nobody is home, but bedtime is quality time. They are not hurting anyone, and we all enjoy it. They only have a limited number of years with us, and it makes them happy. When they were puppies, we tried to get them into their own dog bed on our bed because it was a little scary sleeping with a tiny 1.5-pound living being. If we had rolled over on them, they could have been injured, but they were smart enough to move out of the way and had very sneaky movements to get out of the dog beds. Story 129. He's snoring on my chest, nestled under my chin right now because he's my boy. Story 130. My Chihuahua sleeps in the middle of my bed. I get the side that is right on the edge. Story 131. We did not have dogs, but we had 2 cats. One slept on my feet, and the other crawled up and slept between our heads. For years, they did this every night without fail. Real creatures of habit. Story 132. I honestly have a hard time falling asleep without my dog. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and anxiety, and my therapist said getting a dog would be good for me, especially since I live alone and have issues with my girlfriend. Being in the military is lonely and a long distance relationship while living alone in a 3-bedroom house does not help. Dogs have unconditional love. You are their pack. He loves to cuddle. He follows me everywhere. To me, he is only here for part of my life. To him, I am his entire life. I am going to do everything to give him a great, loving life. Story 133. Yes. The day I rescued her, she was too scared to come out of her crate when I first brought her home. I placed the crate on my bed and sat next to it. After a couple of minutes, she came out and let me pet her. A few minutes later, she lay down against my legs. I lay down and she crawled up against my chest. That was where she slept the first night and every night since. I was always going to keep her, but how could I not after that? Story 134. Yes. Just because he is not human does not make him any less of my best friend. Story 135. I would let my dog borrow my car if she needed to. All my pets sleep in my bed if they want to. Story 136. My two beagles sleep in the bed with us, as they should, since they own the house, food, treats, and furniture. We just pay the mortgage and they allow us to stay here. Story 137. Yes, because they have short lives and duvets make them happy. Story 138. I want to be close to my dog, and she wants to be close to me. I am a heavy sleeper, and I know she will wake me if there is danger. Sometimes she becomes too bold, so she has been banned from my bed. She understands the command off. Story 139. Yes, she's getting older, and I want to savor every moment I can with her. Story 140. I don't have a dog anymore. She used to sleep in my bed, but my cat sleeps there whenever she's home. She can sleep anywhere she desires. She's my perfect little muffin and even snuggles up with me. She is the most cuddly cat I have ever met. I love my dog and I love my cat, so of course they can sleep in my bed. Rest those little toe beans on my soft bed. It's what they deserve. Story 141. My wife, our toddler, the cat, the pug, and I all share the same king-sized bed. It is crowded, but it is the way we like it. Story 142. Yes, he loves cuddles and wakes me up every morning. I would not want it any other way. Story 143. Dog? No, I do not have a dog. Cat? Absolutely. He does not smell. He does nothing but purr and cuddle. He is an indoor and balcony cat because of the singing birds in the area, and he is a Maine Coon, so that is not a big deal for him. Of course, he sleeps in the bed. He is a family member and is treated as such. Story 144. I found my meatball on Craigslist when he was 9.5 weeks old. The first night, I put him in a super comfy bed that was inside a crate with the door open next to my bed. He slept like a baby puppy that night. The next night, he wandered out of the crate and stared at me in the big bed with his puppy eyes. He has been sleeping in my bed ever since. Story 145. We have two small dogs, and yes, they sleep in bed with us. Our dachshund, whom we have had for almost 14 years, came to us at 3 months old. On her first night home, we tried to crate her. She cried for about 1 minute before we caved. Story 146. Yes, of course. My boy needs to touch me in some way while we sleep. He is the best. Story 147. Do you guys get a choice? In our household, the dog determines his spot and we have to fit in around him. Hell, sometimes the couch sounds much more comfortable than a full-size border collie kicking you in the back. Story 148. Yes, and the cat too. They are our babies and want to be with us. When I was younger, my shepherd mix always slept with me. She was my baby. Now we have a little fat dog that steals hot dogs and a cat. Our bed is shared with them. We love them like family because they are family. Story 149. Yes, he sleeps in our bed. He gives us love, warmth, and the occasional backache from curling up around us. He is a family member, so he sleeps with us to feel included. He also has his own bed in the room, but he chooses to sleep with us because that is where he feels safest. Story 150. I've seen dogs groom themselves, sniff other dogs' rear ends, drool everywhere, and even eat feces. It's a disgusting thought to have one of them in bed with me. Story 151. A dog is an outdoor animal. It has its own smell and hair and does not wear clothing around its genitalia or anus. I would not go to bed wearing my outdoor clothes, so there is no way an animal would sleep in our bed. Story 152. My dog does whatever the fuck he wants. I am not his boss. Story 153. Yes, I make my wife sleep in a C-shaped down in front of the bed. Story 154. Yes, because dogs only live for so long, and my dogs are going to live the most comfortable, happiest lives. Story 155. Yes, because he is the most handsome, and he would scream if I tried to kick him out. Story 156. The dog can nap in the bed and often continues sleeping there in the morning after she pees outside, but she has her own bed in the bedroom where she sleeps most of the night. We do this so my husband and I have privacy and to avoid accidentally rolling over her when she was a puppy. She is a miniature dachshund. Story 157. No, but I would totally let him. He tends to move around a lot and make himself comfortable while I am uncomfortable. He is crate trained, so he likes being in his crate with a blanket. Sometimes we have a laundry basket with a comforter I forget to fold, and he will just lie in it and fall right asleep. Story 158. I like cats. When I had dogs, small ones were fine, but large ones were not because they felt like sleeping next to a furnace. Story 159. No, it is not because they are not wanted or welcome. We have 5 and they are older, so they have difficulty getting up. We also have plenty of beds and a fan on the floor for their comfort. They make themselves comfortable on the couch when we are out, so I do not think they have any desire to get into bed with us. Story 160. My girl has been gone for a while. She always took over the whole bed and would snap if you moved her when she was sleepy. That made getting out of bed in the mornings nearly impossible. She had a very comfortable bed in her crate, full reign of the living room furniture, several other beds throughout the house, and a giant soft squirtle pillow she loved to sleep on. Story 161. No, it's mainly because she wants to sleep next to my girlfriend, and her paws end up on my chest. Oddly, in hotel rooms she can because she sleeps at the foot of the bed. She doesn't do that at home. Maybe she wants to guard us? Story 162. I don't sleep with my dog, a male German Shepherd. He's way too big to be on the bed, but he gets to be close on the couch before bedtime. He has his own Tempur-Pedic mattress that he absolutely loves. I don't see that ever changing. Story 163. My dog would rather go to the couch most of the time. She is a terrier breed, so she probably just wants to guard. Story 164. I don't have them anymore. It wasn't because I didn't want to keep them. They were little guys but took up so much space. Add my significant other at the time, and it was like dog bed Tetris every night. The miniature pincher was the best little spoon. I miss it. Story 165. He has a bed on the floor and a couch, and he is allowed on the bed. Right now, he is taking all the space for my feet. He is a good boy and sleeps where he wants. Story 166. I want my dog to sleep in bed with me, but she does not want to. Story 167. I crate trained my pup for the first few years. He had a sense of ownership, which was very important. His crate was where he took his bones and treats, and he would nap there during the day while it was open. In the morning, I would open the crate and he would drag his bed into the living room, and when it was time for bed, he would bring his bed with him and wait to be closed in. It helped so much with separation and independence. After a breakup, he slept in the bed. Story 168. When we first got our dog, I was a big supporter of using a crate. As she has grown older and become house-trained, we have allowed her to sleep on the bed with us. Her world is already small enough at knee height. I don't like the idea of making it smaller by keeping her away from us. Story 169. She is cuddly. We keep each other warm. Because I let her spend time in my bed, she usually stays for a while, then jumps off and returns to her own bed. If that desire to be close to me were not satisfied, she would constantly whine for attention and petting. Story 170. Mutual, unconditional love until one of us needs to pee? Is this a serious question? Story 171. Every time it is a cat, not a dog. They sleep wherever they decide. On the bed, on the chair, on the heater, in the closet, or on the sofa. As long as it isn't the kitchen or the dining table, they are everywhere. Story 172. They are allowed on my bed during the daytime, but I do not allow them to sleep in the bed with me. One dog is too big to share a queen-size bed with my boyfriend and me. The smaller dog likes to sniff my face at random times during the night. They usually sleep together on the larger dog's bed or on the couch. Story 173. I wish I could, but she sheds a lot. The bed becomes too covered in hair. Story 174. He's 15 years old, and I know I have a limited amount of time before I can no longer cuddle him. Story 175. She deserves it, and I also benefit from it. Story 176. Generally, yes, but my current dogs tend to vomit on my bed, especially if I leave the house after changing the sheets. Now that I have moved, the answer is no. I am temporarily on an air mattress and I am not risking either of them puncturing it by digging. Story 177. Yes. If they are happy doing that, I have no issues. I do not sleep well because I have small dogs, and I worry I might squish them. Story 178. No, I do not. Every time I let him sleep in my bed, he keeps me up all night and I have the worst sleep of my life. Story 179. Sometimes I need good quality sleep, and that cannot happen with my dog, also known as the bed hog, in the bed. She goes to her bed on the floor right next to me. She often gets too hot to stay in bed. During bad tick season, she is not allowed in the bed. Story 180. My late husband did not believe in it, so our dog had a bed of his own in our room. The night he died, our dog knew I needed him. He climbed into the bed and never left. 2 more dogs and another husband eventually joined us, bringing the total weight in our bed to 550 pounds. Story 181. Yes, I give them the choice to sleep where they like, and they choose to come to bed because I give them the care, consideration, and respect I give to all my loved ones. Story 182. My dog refuses to stay out. He loves his crate. He will hang out for 10 or 15 minutes before bed, then automatically asks to go inside. We do not close the crate door. Story 183. Yes. If an explanation is necessary, I do not think one would be possible. Story 184. Yes and no. My bride goes to bed before I do, so our pit bull sleeps with her until I go to bed. When he hears me turn off the lights, he gets off the bed and walks across the hall to his crate in the office. If one of us is out of town, he sleeps in the bed all night. Story 185. Yes, all 80 pounds of him. The only night I haven't had Lucas with me was when I had to travel for a funeral and couldn't take him. It was the worst night ever. Ever since, if he can't go, I don't go. Story 186. I let the dog on the bed or couch when I am awake, but I do not sleep with my dog because of the dog hair and lack of room. I also have a cat who usually sleeps on my chest at night. When we first got her, I tried to teach her to get off the bed, but I quickly realized that training a cat is a lost cause. She does whatever she wants, and we cannot stop her. Our dog is far more obedient. Story 187. I have an American Staffordshire Terrier Pibble, and he is the most independent and standoffish dog I have ever had. He loves his personal space and is not much of a cuddler. He is like a cat. He wants his affection on his terms and at his leisure, and when he is done, he is done. He is fully crate trained and sleeps in his crate most nights, 5 or 6 nights a week. He sleeps with me if I take a nap during the day after work, on weekends, or sometimes not at all. He knows when it is his bedtime and he has a routine. We go in, I grab him a pepperoni while he watches, we go downstairs and out the den doors to the front yard no matter how long he has been in the backyard. He marks 5 or 6 different spots in order. Then we go back in and he enthusiastically enters his crate by nudging the door open with his snout, runs in, and sits with authority to receive his pepperoni. It is the best of both worlds. Some say breeds like this should not sleep in your bed because once you do, you have lost your house and your status as pack leader. Others say dogs are pack animals, you are their pack, and their life is short. I think I have it pretty balanced with my boy. Story 188. Because he is my son, he gets up and lies under the bed as soon as I stop petting him. Story 189. She does it because she wants to. As a young dog, she went through a downstairs sleeping phase, but now she sleeps in my room. She alternates some nights between my bed and the floor. It is up to her where she sleeps. Story 190. I have 2 dogs. One is quite old and the other is very energetic. The older dog can no longer jump onto my bed. The smaller one sleeps with my mother. Recently, the older dog has been coming to my room frequently. If my door is closed, she sleeps in front of it. I brought a dog bed into my room so she would feel welcome, but she often sits near the bed, stares at me, and gives the bed a sidelong look, which signals that she wants to be lifted up. She usually dislikes being lifted and moves away if you try, but when she wants to get on the bed, she positions herself to be easier to pick up. The only reason she is not always on the bed is that my bed is fairly tall so she cannot jump up, and my room is very small so there is no place to make a ramp. Story 191. She sleeps under the bed, but I invite her up in the morning for snuggling. Story 192. My dog passed away in 2022. I would give anything to have him back on the bed, huffing because he's too warm but too stubborn to get down and cool off. Story 193. Are you this guy's girlfriend? Story 194. I will have to remember him for longer than I get to be with him. He can sleep wherever he damn well wants. Story 195. I don't have a dog at the moment, but I recently stayed with my mom for 6 months while I was injured. She has a beautiful German Shepherd. She sleeps with my mom and my stepfather despite being quite large. One night she decided to join me in bed. Could not believe how much of the bed she was taking up. There is a king-size bed in the spare room I was sleeping in, and she filled most of it. I have no idea how she fits in the same size bed with 2 humans instead of just one. I did enjoy it though. She is very snuggly. Story 196. My dog has free run of the house and can sleep wherever she wants. She used to sleep with us every night, but lately she does so only about 10% of the time. I miss her. Story 197. Yep, I read that people who sleep with their dogs report higher levels of happiness than those who do not. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? I do not know, but it makes both of us happier to sleep in the same bed. I wake up to instant cuddles. He is comfortable, happy, and warm. Dogs' lives are so short, and they really do not live their own lives. They live our lives. My dog's life revolves around me and my schedule. He watches me go about my business, hoping for attention. That is why I take him for lots of walks and one long walk every single day. 1 to 2 hours of the day is the only time that is really about him, and I still benefit from it. What he gets out of watching me do the dishes, I will never know. He deserves his walks and he deserves the bed. Laughing out loud. Story 198. When I was a kid, I had a little Bichon Shih Tzu who weighed 15 pounds and did not shed. He was neutered and did not do gross things like lick himself or sniff crotches, so he could sleep in bed with me. However, as I have gotten older and met more dogs, I find it disgusting to have a dog in bed with you, especially under the sheets. I was ruined by living with someone who spoiled his dog, taking him to a nasty dog park every morning and not bathing him. The dog would be covered in poop, urine, dirt, and whatever else and then sleep in the bed. It was foul. In summary, 99% of the time, no. Story 199. Typing this as the puppy sleeps, snuggled against my chest. I don't know, it feels normal to me. My parents always let the pets sleep with them, so when I was a kid, I desperately wanted the pets to sleep with me too. In middle school, when we got a puppy, I was eager to make my bed her nighttime spot. Now that I have my own dog, it was never really a question. He does have a nighttime crate, but we prefer it when we can snuggle. Story 200. She does not want to, which is fine by me because I do not like dog hair in my bed. Story 201. The cat sleeps in my bed and the dog sleeps in my husband's bed. We sleep apart because I am female and snore like a drunken sailor. Story 202. He is cute, small, and 13. He is often cold and happiest when being held. His sister sadly passed away earlier this year on one of the few days I did not let them snuggle in bed with me, so I feel like I owe him. I may be a little paranoid and simply want him nearby if his time comes soon. The old girl waddled over and plopped right next to my bed, breathed oddly a few times, and then she was gone. I regret not holding her in her last moments. I had been trying to get them back on a regular sleeping schedule. Now he is allowed in bed whenever he wants. Story 203. We didn't at first, until our older female dog passed away unexpectedly. Our male, her son, was very close to her, and I did not have the heart to make him sleep away from us those first few nights because it felt cruel. After that, it became our habit because it was comforting and cozy. The main reason I had not wanted him in the bed before was that he weighs about 120 pounds and I thought he would take up too much room. Ironically, he likes to curl into a tiny ball behind my legs, and the other dog, about 1/3 his size, spreads herself across the entire mattress. Story 204. My grandma lets her chihuahuas sleep in her bed. They are small, so they do not take up much space, and they keep her company at night since my grandfather passed away. Story 205. When we first got my chihuahua, she used to sleep on my chest until one day she outgrew me and fell off. When she fell off, she gave me a look as if to say something was wrong with me and that I had changed, so she settled at my side. She had also done it to keep warm during cold nights. I miss her now, but I remember fondly the mark she left on my life. Instinctively, when I sleep, I turn to my side, making room for her without even realizing it. Story 206. I wish I had a dog, but if I did, I would let it sleep on my bed. I currently have cats who are allowed on the bed, but they choose not to. Story 207. He is a puppy with no other dogs or animals in the house. He needs company and snuggles. Story 208. No, because she sleeps downstairs and snores like thunder. Story 209. I am 29 years old. I've always had a dog in my life and still do. Up until last year, my dogs were never allowed in my bed. They had their crate. A friend convinced me to try it, so I did. I let my boxer, Jasper, start sleeping with me. Changed everything. I used to struggle with getting him to listen. I could get him to do the classics like sit, stay, shake, and come, but if he was too excited, it was like he could not even hear my voice. He would also run off if I took off his leash. Now, after letting him sleep with me, everything has changed. He listens more, he is calmer and more patient, and so am I. He no longer runs off. He comes when I call, and he calms down when I want him to. Sometimes all it takes is a look instead of me telling him. Having Jasper sleep with me has made a huge difference. In the future, I will probably still start with crate training. But after that is settled, I will 100% let every future dog sleep on the bed with me. It is a night and day difference in the connection I have with them. Story 210. No, but only because of my second dog. My older dog is short-haired, and if we kept up with grooming, she could sleep in the bed without much issue. Then we got our second dog. He has medium length, thick, coarse fur, and it gets everywhere. I had to put several dog blankets on the bed for him to lie on and was washing them every day. I told my fiancé I was sorry and that I would miss their snuggles, but no more sleeping in the bed. We put a pet gate at the bedroom door. The dogs have free range of the couches and their beds, so they have comfortable places to sleep and I don't have to worry about a bed covered in fur. Also, we sleep on a full-size bed and both dogs weigh about 50 to 70 pounds, so there is not enough room anymore even if he did not shed so much. Story 211. Yes, I love my dog's cuddles, but the queen-size bed is not big enough. Story 212. I have two dogs at the moment. The beagle gets annoyed with my Belgian Malinois by about 9 p.m., so he goes to bed in his crate. If I bring him upstairs, he will cuddle for a bit, then open the bedroom door and go downstairs to his crate. The Belgian Malinois will sleep downstairs if I have company, but much prefers to be near me. If the covers go over my head while I am sleeping, he pulls them off so he can always see me. Story 213. Yes, because it would be too difficult to snuggle her if she were on the floor. Story 214. I love it when he squishes up against my feet. It's comforting. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.